All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Telehealth Tuesday. This is episode number 58, I believe. This is your go to podcast for insights on modern healthcare and wellness solutions. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Bookhardt. Today, we have a very, very special episode lined up just for you. I want to let you know that Telehealth Tuesday can be viewed on multiple platforms. Most namely and most notably, YouTube, our YouTube channel that is Dr. B TV. That is the word doctor spelled out DOCTOR. B is in boy and TV on YouTube. So make sure to click like, subscribe, share, and subscribe to help support this amazing program. Also, our channels on Instagram and Facebook, all of our information is on the YouTube channel there. So before we get started, let me give you some background information on Mr. Emanuel Williams. I see him in the background. He is ready. He's backstage. He's ready, eager to talk to you. Mr. Emanuel Williams is a lobbyist, a business developer, media proprietor, is dedicated to advancing economic opportunity and community equity across Mississippi and the South. As the chairman and CEO of the EDW Group, Emanuel leads a multifaceted public affairs and business development firm that integrates government relations, technical assistance, strategic media, and nonprofit advocacy. Through EDW Government Affairs, EDW Business Affairs, and Media and Equity Corporation, he works at the intersection of policy, business, and community, helping towns secure vital infrastructure improvements, guiding entrepreneurs and nonprofits toward resources for growth, and producing media platforms that amplify local voices. With deep roots in rural development and small town advocacy, Emanuel has built a reputation as a connector who bridges local communities with state, national, and even international networks. His work reflects a belief that sustainable progress comes from combining policy influence, strategic partnerships, and authentic storytelling to create a lasting impact. Ladies and gentlemen, stand and cheer or sit and cheer and put it together for my friend, the one and the only, the incomparable, Mr. Emanuel Williams. Give it to him. Yeah, how you doing?
Listen, I'm good. If I was a preacher, I would want you to introduce me at every revival and every pastor's anniversary.
Hey, I'll keep that in mind. You let me know when you go to the ministerial schools. That's all right, brother. Good to see
I'm,
you.
I'm, I'm glad to be here. It's good to be seen and not viewed, as the old folks would say.
That's right.
I count it as a privilege to be with you and your audience. Such an esteemed, distinguished ilk of folk. It's a pleasure to be here this evening.
Well, I appreciate it. Just let you guys know we paid him to say that. Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, looks like we're getting some. 1 second here. Okay. Let me make sure we do a quick. Want to say hello to our Instagram family. I see my good friend and my frat brother, our chapter president, Dr. Driscoll Duvall, in there. He says he just put up the letter E with an exclamation point over there.
That's old Gamma Upsilon brother right there.
Yeah, that's all right there, man. That's all right. Well, I don't even think we talked about that. Well, we about to talk offline, man. Wait, I didn't even know. We'll have to talk about that. Is that what you're
Oh
saying?
yeah, we gonna talk about that.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know, brother. Wait a minute now.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Now, wait a minute.
yeah. I thought you knew that part. Well,
No.
maybe not the Gamma Upsilon part, but
Yeah.
the
No, I
other
didn't.
part.
No, man, I didn't. Okay, well, we'll talk offline, man. Now, he put no KB exclamation point. Oh yeah, Frank, man. Frank White, I see you over there, man. Oh, sheer joy. That's my homegirl from Oakwood University and Quick Fix LLC. Mr. Tony Yarber, Pastor Yarber is on there on Instagram. So hello to everyone that is joining us. All right. Well, let's get to it, man. So I'd love for you to tell our audience about anything that perhaps was left out of your bio or that I neglected to mention. Maybe you could let them know where you're from and how you got started and everything, and what your influences to start your company.
Definitely. I am from a little town by the name of Greenville, Mississippi. What we would always say when we were out and about is the heart and soul of the Mississippi Delta.
Right.
Uh, Son of a pastor, and my late mother was an evangelist. And so I got my start in the church speaking. Saw my dad have a heart for people. My mom, who spent most of her, really all of her secular career in education as both a teacher assistant and as a director of a child care facility for several years.
Mm.
And so service to the community was what was always a part of our family and who we were. And developed a love for politics at an early age because I understood this intersection of power, but also the ability to impact folks' lives. And so that took me to um, working for Congressman Thompson, fresh out of high school as an
Wow.
intern. Have a great relationship with him to this day. That turned into multiple internships with his office, and eventually running a campaign while I was still in college for a then mentor of mine, and he won and was elected to the state House of Representatives. And later on, I ended up working with the small municipality to help them get some funding for water. And I fell in love with what is called government affairs and the lobbying arena. I saw it as a way to be able to represent folks who might not always have active voices at the Capitol in Jackson or in Washington. And so that's where it all began for me.
That's awesome, and I didn't even know you did all that. I briefly went over your bio after you sent it to me, but I don't think, yeah, well, I don't think that part was in there, but that's amazing, man. Because I know the congressman, he's a heavy hitter, man. He is the heavy hitter.
Certainly, certainly, certainly. Definitely a stalwart in his own right.
Absolutely. We've got some folks here on YouTube land and Facebook. I want you guys to know that this is the place that you guys come on and ask your questions here, whatever you want to know about, whether it's something political. Like Emmanuel, we talked about one thing. We'll probably stay away from one topic, but the you
I
know,
can think about two or three.
yeah, from an unfortunate gentleman, we'll stay away from that. But anything you guys want to know and local politics or even uh, possibly national and what's going on in Jackson, what's going on with infrastructure. He's here to talk about it. And then anything health related, of course, we're talking about Jackson, but it's still a health podcast. So we're here to answer any questions you have. And you can even have random ones. And hypertension, diabetes, just throw them out there and we'll do the best we can to get to it. All right. So first question here, Mr. Williams, you've worn so many hats, entrepreneur and radio personality. Um, how do you see community confidence and access to good primary care working hand in hand in Jackson? Community confidence and then access to good primary care. How do those work hand in hand in this city?
I think at the heart of any community are a number of basic services: water, transportation, good infrastructure, and that's your sewer, your roads, your bridges, good public schools, and healthcare is at the root of that, and is at the root of what goes into building and shaping any community in a positive light. Um, you know, at a time when there's controversy over the expansion of Medicaid or not to expand. I think one of the things that you always hear me say is that sometimes you have to use the tools that are in your hand, which is why I talk about economic mobility so much. Uh, the body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, as we say in the church, and that your body is something that you can do something about. That's one thing. Last year and the year before that, I lost about 60 pounds.
Wow.
Now,
Praise
we won't
God,
talk,
brother.
we won't talk about the fact that I've gained some of that back.
Okay.
Uh,
It's all good.
but the fact of the matter is that there are some things that we have control over and that we can change. And what I have come to the conclusion is that I would much rather change the things that I have the ability to change. And
Hmm.
so, if we're going to talk about that 60 pounds that I lost,
Hmm.
what went into that? That didn't start one day just going to the gym for 45 minutes. It began with a consistent 5 minutes that turned into 10, that turned into
Hmm.
15, that turned into 45, that turned into eating less. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Removing certain carbs from my diet. Those were things that I could control because I was the one who paid for the food. I was the one who went to the gym. I was the
Hmm.
one who walked outside. Those are things that we can control ourselves. And so having community confidence begins with the work that we as a community do ourselves to build the community. Does that make
Absolutely.
sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The work, yeah, the work, it definitely, it starts with you. It starts with, well, with us, And so yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. On this in Instagram land, we've got Dr. Driscoll, our frat brother. He says, "What advice would you have for anyone interested in being a lobbyist, and what challenges and opportunities can you expound upon?" Great question.
Oh, wonderful question. That's one of the things I'm most passionate about. Is that there are a couple of traditional tracks to being a lobbyist. Um, you work for government and you build an expertise, and then you leave government and you're highly sought out by the private sector because you've got the relationships or you know the process and the information. The other route is that you are a campaign guy and you help get enough elected officials to the point where you've got enough relationships and you can then work through those relationships to move the needle along in certain areas. I had an interesting kind of background in that I ran a campaign and then worked for folk and just kind of hustled essentially till I got to the point where I am today. Now, I don't know how far I've gotten, but it was a very much so a campaign background, but it's somewhat of a hybrid where there was some experience working in government as an intern because with the congressman's office, I worked at the district level, the legislative office level, as well as the Homeland Security office at that time.
Mm,
I had also been around local government uh, as a high school student. Had worked as a summer worker with the local chancery clerk. So one of the things, my personal niche is I understand how politics and how government works. Um, and one of the niches that I have developed is I know where pots of money are for municipalities.
mm.
And I know the process. I understand the players, and I might not know the answer to every question, but I know where to start looking to ultimately, hopefully, get to where we want to go. And
Mm.
so, you
I
know,
heard pots of money, but go ahead though. I heard pots of money. Okay.
and so, one of the things is, as a lobbyist, people hire you for a couple of reasons. Who do you know, what you know, and the process. It's a heavily relationship oriented industry. It's understanding how politics works, how government works, because some people you know, often are irritated with their local elected officials or their state elected officials at the fact that government doesn't move fast.
That's
The
right.
folks who created government in this country didn't create it to move fast, and it's a process. But sometimes there are things that you can do in the meantime as a community at the local level that will create instant and immediate change.
Absolutely. I just putting some comments up there. I think Driscoll did that. Answer your question, Oakland, monitoring on Instagram. Um,
Brother Duvall, I'll say this too. You've got a healthcare and medical field background, and so
absolutely.
you have something that's marketable to folks. You can say, well, hey, my expertise is healthcare, the medical background, and here is what I can offer your company, or I can offer you as a private entity, and I can explain to the folks in the legislature because that's what I do for a living. I'm a translator. It's helping folks in government understand what folks in business and in the community are trying to say, and vice versa.
Okay. Excellent. He said, awesome, my good brother. Okay. Excellent. Well, let's go. That brings me to a second question here. And like I said, this is a live show, everyone. So if there's something you want to know, something you want to hear, I see Shamika Thomas all the way from Dallas, Texas. So I want to say a big shout out to you, and also looking for the staff at Methodist Rehab. I wanted to give them a big shout out for doing what they do and sacrifices they make and doing such an amazing job over there. Um, let's see. All right. So what do you think? Um, Actually, let's go to this other question. Many people in this country feel disconnected from politics. And, of course, hey, with all the things that are going on and certain administrations, we can see why. But the question is, and so many people feel disconnected from politics. And the same is sometimes true with healthcare. How can we make civic engagement and taking charge of your health feel less intimidating and maybe even enjoyable?
I mean, I think it begins with we've got to begin to look at one our health, and I say this as a brother who hates with all of my might exercise.
Yeah,
We have to begin to look at it one as a normal part of life, and you sometimes have to dip your toe in the water. And dipping your toe in the water can look different for different people. At a bare minimum, we should have, our headlines on to what's going on in our local government. If you're not watching a city council meeting, you should be reading the newspaper. I know at one time the city of Jackson would post the agenda meetings. Not all municipalities, but a lot of municipalities post the minutes of their city council meetings so you can stay informed. You might not know this, but you have the power to invite your local elected officials to your church or
Mm.
to your home, putting these folks together. And then if you invite your friends and say, hey, we're going to have a host of folks here who would like to talk to you and get an update on what's going on, very few elected officials are going to turn you down. And so I can understand why it can be intimidating. I think for me, it's always been extremely exciting. But that's because that's what I do. When you have to remember that these folks work on our behalf, or at least are supposed to. And so
Right. Yeah.
when you humbly keep that at the forefront of your mind, engaging with them can be a little bit easier. We're at a heavily polarized time in politics right now, especially here in the U.S. And one of the things that I always say to people is you have to keep the main thing the main thing.
Main
A
thing.
lot of stuff is political theater. I don't get caught up in that. If it's not about impact, if it's not about money, and we aren't talking about changing people's lives, I let the politicians do the political theater. I don't get caught up into one side or the other because they both rely on one another, and all of us need each other. And so you want to have good relationships with everybody, even the people that you don't agree with, because it's just a component of seizing and having power is information.
Yep,
And if
absolutely.
you don't have a relationship with the folks in power when you need something, um, you'll be out of luck. Sad to say.
Hmm. Yeah, and going and also the question, how to make people. Let's put that back up there. Uh, Many people feeling disconnected from politics, and they're saying the same is true with healthcare. And how can we make both civic engagement and taking charge of your healthcare feel less intimidating? So he spoke about it on the political side, on the healthcare side. This is something that we see every day, and people in with what I do for a living. Healthcare workers get burnt out, taking care of people over and over and neglecting, our own families, neglecting ourselves. He talked about going to the gym, losing 60 pounds. A lot of times, healthcare workers, unless they work out very early in the morning or very late at night, don't get a chance to. So it's just one of those things where, and when I would have medical students and resident doctors under me and teaching them, you always think about, hey, this is a privilege that we have, and Emmanuel, there was a politician recently that says, well, he's not a politician, but anyway, a controversial gentleman who asked a person in the audience at a particular college university and says, hey, do you think being in America is a right or a privilege? And that got really controversial. So I feel like those of us that are in healthcare, this is you darn sure right that this is a privilege for us that we get a chance to take care of people. They look at us with faith and respect and things like that, and they're expecting that we have their best interests at heart. So I feel like when we look at it like that way, it should be something humbling to you. And even though you don't feel like
Doc, you're the most
going in,
humble
yeah, man,
doctor I've ever met.
yeah, appreciate it. But look, I appreciate that, man, because over the years I've even heard something to the opposite. I've even heard a couple of people saying other stuff. I'm like, man, ain't no way you think that. But
It's very easy. The more blessed you get, it's very easy to think that I did this all by my own self.
hmm
That nobody helped me get here. I don't owe anybody anything. I am the God's gift to the earth, and that we have to remember that we are replaceable.
absolutely.
We are replaceable. We there is somebody else who is just as good.
hmm
While we all have unique characteristics, uh, the gifts and the talents that we have are not only shared by us. And
hmm
so, once we recognize that and understand the assignments of which we are on and do that with that at the forefront, I would think that that would create some sense of humility. But you said
Absolutely.
it, the healthcare piece, you know, taking care of your body, as I think about it, it isn't just a one big thing. It's a number of very small things on a day to day basis.
hmm
It's well, for some folks it might be if you're in an office building, well, do you take the stairs,
hmm
or do you park far away from the grocery store?
That's
Do
right.
you have a diet coke versus a coke with sugar in it? If you eat grits this morning, are we also going to have mashed potatoes for dinner? Do I need to have all three meals today? Can I fast? Can I start eating at 12 o'clock maybe? Am I drinking enough water? Though, am I eating organic? But that's a whole other subject
That's
on
a
its
whole
own.
nother. Yeah, right, right.
We don't know what's
Exactly.
organic.
That's right.
It's very small things. It can be intimidating when we look at the whole enchilada, and I often say this with my business partners, I am not a greedy man. I am comfortable with just a piece of the pie. Uh, Anxiety and greed sets in when we look at getting the whole thing at one big whop.
That's right.
We have to pace ourselves. I will say that I am already looking at ways as I talk about my health journey. I'm already looking at ways where I can begin to just put my feet back in the water. I've gave myself a measurable goal. I think, and I've said that this is the timeline that I'd like to see this amount of results,
Hmm.
and we have to be self accountable. That accountability piece is very important, and then it takes community. Where government plays a role in that. There are grants through the Mississippi Department of Transportation for
That's right.
sidewalks. Has your community or your city applied for sidewalk money so that people can be walking more? Now, I'm not a bike rider, but something I would love to see in the city of Jackson and really throughout the state of Mississippi, because we're a very food loving place. I'll say that again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right.
Which
Right.
causes us to be a little heavier than most. I'd
Right.
love to see more folks riding bikes. Uh, I'd love to see more people walking. These are simple things that can be done to make, healthcare not feel as intimidating. It's a one day at a time, one step at a time type of thing.
Absolutely. No, that would be great. And I think we were talking with some of the staff over at Methodist earlier, and we were talking about the like misconceptions and things, even right here in Mississippi and in Jackson, people growing up saying, well, I got to season my food this way, or things about misconception by saying, well, everybody in my family is big boned or whatever, and I say, well, that's there's no such thing, first of all. And the other thing is, even as our kids are smaller, we need to make sure they're being active. And I always said that on a news interview we did with WJTV. Big shout out WJTV. That we need to make sure that we are being responsible and making sure, especially our children, don't have to pay for the mistakes that we, have done. And so, yeah, walking and everything, it may not be the most delightful, it may not be the most popular thing to do, but yeah, that's a great idea. So we need to work together offline to get this done. Let's get this done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
let's see. Let me check over Instagram. Okay, a couple of people have joined. Another question was, so what would you say? Um, what would you think? A couple of the biggest challenges that in Jackson, a couple of the biggest challenges facing Jackson citizens right now. Um, especially in terms of healthcare. How can we help the citizens of Jackson prioritize health and regular doctor visits? How can we help them prioritize that and the role that plays in lifting the morale in the city here?
Um, One of the things that immediately stands out to me is that there are parts of West and South Jackson that are essentially a food desert, just
Food
like
desert,
parts of
yeah.
the Mississippi Delta. Um, uh, and so I get kind of on a soapbox when it comes to this. There are certain things that build a community, and access to fresh food is one of those things that builds a community.
That's right.
And you know, when you don't have grocery stores, you have to come up with creative solutions. Uh, One of the things that our community used to do a lot more was we grew our own food. We grew our own
Absolutely.
beans and our tomatoes and our own watermelon. And because of convenience, because of life, and trust me, I'm very much so a city person at heart. So convenience is my money down. I will
Hmm.
pay for convenience. But there are grants out there through the U.S. Department of Agriculture where you can get money to grow food. So
Wow.
there are opportunities like that exist. um, and building some kind of cooperative around food and access to healthy food. And so when you begin to look at, you know, uh, that access to food is one of those things as a challenge in some areas of the city. Uh, and then as you look at not only food, uh, beginning to reshape the conversation about health in our churches.
Absolutely.
It would be wonderful to see ministries dedicated to exercise, where once
Yes.
a week or 2 or 3 times a week, the folks who go to the gym could invite more folks to go to the gym, and
Hmm.
it becomes less of an intimidating thing. If we can get saved and get salvation together, we can also get healthy, because
Absolutely.
you can't be around to enjoy life. And I'm saying this because this is something I had to recognize. You can't be around to enjoy life if you are overweight, got one taking one medication after the other, and just can't move throughout life. And so that access to that healthy food I see as a challenge. I definitely think that it's probably in terms of healthcare, one of the most pertinent issues of the day.
Hmm.
And then the other part of it is the poverty level. And so I see entrepreneurship, and that's why I talk about economic mobility a lot. And one of the roles that we play at EDW is connecting folks to opportunities, and figuring out how to make sure your paperwork is in order. Because when the PPP loans came out for the folks who were doing business legitimately, unfortunately there were some folks who looked like us.
Yeah.
They didn't have paperwork, and
Yeah.
so there was money and funding that legitimately was able to get from the government that didn't have to be paid back, that our folks did not access. And so we get scared of paperwork.
Yeah. Right. That's right.
If it's more than a few pages, we begin to look like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And
Hmm.
so, really beginning to reshape that narrative around one, the access to those grocery stores, and then looking at how to change the trajectory of our lives by creating our own businesses.
Do you when you talk about creating businesses, do you feel that that's something that in the South is truly welcome? Like a lot of people talk about it, but do you really feel like we can grow in the South or even in the city of Jackson by helping to create businesses, especially in this community? You feel like that's welcomed?
I'm welcome to who?
Good one. Good. Well, I would say in general, because I do know that's a little bit easier, less red tape here than say if you were somewhere in New York and L.A. and all these places, and opening up restaurants, liquor licenses are not with exorbitant pricing as they are up there. But it just seems like sometimes when you want to do good, you want to help the city, you want to help your people. It just seems that sometimes you're kind of met with some obstacles, and I was just wondering, politically, is that something that you feel is
This
is
is
just
the
truly
most
encouraged?
this is the most business friendly state that there is. But we have to. It goes back to what I just said. We have to do our paperwork.
Hmm.
Uh, and that I could do a whole, and some of this stuff I can't say on camera,
Right, right,
but
right.
we have elected officials who want to do business with us. But if you don't have proper plans in place, proper documentation in place, and there is no application, you know, you you can't expect to get nothing if you don't bring something with you.
Hmm.
And so, one of the things that we're going to be doing, I'll give you an example. Our people our culture is rich in terms of food, but we have not figured out how to properly monetize more than just selling the fish plates. if you sell fish or you sell burgers or whatever, looking at how to truly organize your documents, set that company up, get a bank account, get an LLC or a corporation with the Secretary of State,
Mm-hmm.
and taxes. Now the issue now then is going to come into, well, access to capital. Okay.
Right.
Uh, you
Right.
know, can black folk, because that's who we're talking about in some instances, access funding from these lending institutions? Well, in some cases, that's an issue. But then you bank
Absolutely.
with, but then you bank with folk who look like you.
Mm-hmm.
There are the Liberty Banks out there. There are the Hope Credit Unions out there. And what you do is, if you aren't ready when you go into the bank to get something from the bank, well, you build a relationship with these folks. You go inside the bank for one. Some stuff doesn't need to just be done online. You need to go in and cash that check sometimes. So the teller at the window can know you. So the branch manager can know you. And
Mm-hmm.
so you can know the folks who are underwriting your loans when you can. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot goes into that piece, quite a bit.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I can definitely appreciate that one. I want to we're going to pivot a little bit here, change up this question because we had it just a little bit the other way, but I want to change that up a little bit. Um, Looking at building trust in the community, how is it that what do you think the steps are to building trust in the community? I guess one arm of the question is politically, with our elected officials, local leaders how, how do we I mean, I guess it's more like how do they encourage trust from the citizens, and then I'll tackle the one in terms of trusting your doctor, your healthcare provider. How do we encourage trust? But I'll give the first question to you.
Uh, you know, I know from an elected official's perspective, you can't just show up at election time. Um, there are very
Period.
yeah.
Yeah.
There are a number of ways to stay in contact with your people now with the likes of social media. If you visited churches during your campaign, every now and then you should pop up at churches after you get elected. Uh, Getting folk, having town halls, maybe in addition to regular board meetings, uh, uh, coming to speak with local civic groups and uh, fraternity and sororities, showing up when people need you the most is the way you build trust over time. It isn't
Hmm.
a one size fits all. It's just showing up.
Hmm.
And when you can't show up, being honest about it. When you can't do something, being honest about that, and communicating where you are in a very clear way that doesn't have people thinking, well, he or she is two sided or two faced, whatever. Communication is the biggest part of transparency,
Mm.
and transparency is the biggest part of trust.
Mm. Can you say that one more time for the people in the back?
Communication is the biggest part of transparency, and transparency is the biggest part of trust.
Yeah.
And what happens is if you hide your motives at the beginning, and then at the end you talk about, well, I did such and such. Well, you should have told me that in the beginning.
Right. Absolutely.
You have to give people an understanding of your vision, where you want to go, the things that you'd like to do, and your heart, and be upfront. There really is no other way to say it. You've got to be upfront and honest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to say hello to, we've got a surge of folks coming in. Um, Let me see 1 second here. Uh, 1 second. Okay. We see a surge of people coming on there. I want to say hello to big shout out to, again, I think some of the folks from Methods were on there. I believe so. Got it. Okay. And we've got a few new folks coming in and over here on Instagram land. So I want to let you all know, just quick pause for the cause. This is Telehealth Tuesday. And again, this is your go-to podcast from Insights, Modern Insights, Healthcare Solutions. We are here. I see that, again, I want to give them a big shout out. Somebody sent me a text from Methods. They said, we're going to get on it. Is it going to be live? You're going to give us a shout out? So big shout out to the staff again from Methodist Rehab. Thank you all for joining everything you do. Our frat brother here, Brother Duvall, my lovely mother's on here, Lily James. We'll put her question up, and then we're gonna put Brother Duvall's question up next. And okay, I got you on. And so let's go to that. Siri is trying to talk to me in the studio. Wait. Hey, I'm not talking to you, Siri. Lord, the government is listening, brother. Okay, hey, hold on now. Hey, Siri. That's Echo. What's Echo is that's the other one. I done forgot already. Echo is the other voice. Anyway, but Echo, she stopped. So just want to let you guys know this is a live segment, obviously. And so please make sure to ask your questions. It's an interesting collaboration here. We've got Mr. My brother, Emanuel Williams here. Again, we read his bio. Amazing gentleman doing big things in the community. And so anything politically related, this is the time to ask him. Hopefully, he'll be able to give you the answers or point you in the right direction. And anything healthcare related, that's what I'm here to hopefully answer as well. And if I can't do it, well, hey, chat GPT or Google it. But we're here for you. Okay, let's go to my mother's logging in here, and she is recovering from rehab. She's doing very well. So she's literally in the facility now, but she is taking the time to log on to support us. So thank you for being here, Mom. So she says, since exercise is so essential to good health and long life, do you think the federal government should mandate a physical education U.S. schools? Okay. Are you saying that should they make physical education in the U.S. mandatory? I think that's what she's saying. Yeah. So since exercise is essential to good health and long life, do you think the federal government should mandate physical education in U.S. schools? I think that's what she's saying.
I'm not opposed to that. I think if we I think my only, not necessarily issue, is I guess would say concern, because I mean a student could very well develop habits from school, but I think education is kind of a couple of years ago uh, there was this whole conversation about critical race theory and how people felt about the government uh, coming at certain issues. I think that it would be ideal, but what I'd love to see is a more communal kind of approach to it. It's some things that, in my opinion, should be taught at home. And I'll give you an example. My dad at 68 miles can probably outwalk most people, and was consistently uh, walking 4 to 6 miles on a consistent basis. And if I lost 60 pounds, he's probably lost that or more. And so I think it begins, it's one of those things that I think it should be taught, on a kind of a home level. But Mrs. James, I don't see a problem with a mandate, because physical education, financial literacy, which is something I don't know if that was intentional or not. That was not mandated in our curriculums. That probably should be taught along with a number of issues. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. And I would just say my 2 cents on that. Um, there are so many benefits to physical education. We all know from, effects on blood pressure, juvenile diabetes, and hopefully preventing that because, lowering people's BMI, body mass index, lowering, like I said, their risk for either developing hypertension or if the children have it or they've had some issues in utero or gestational problems, and then or maybe they were born a little premature, and so they're already predisposed to problems. The fact that we have pretty much taken this out of the school system, and not even talking about the political aspect, because Emanuel Brother Williams commented on that, but the healthcare related impacts on that, I mean, are severe, far reaching, and it there are so many benefits. We talked about this on that news segment as well, that kids are able to bond with each other. They're able to develop communication skills. They're able to, like I said, develop the athlete's heartbeat, if you will, meaning that your heart rate is able to stay at a lower beats per minute than other folks. Because if Brother Williams, you talked about going up a flight of stairs. You'll realize you can tell if a person is not only out of breath, but they're deconditioned and out of shape, frankly, going up just one flight of stairs. If your heart starts racing and beating out of your chest, you see, so that means that's the obvious that we're out of shape. And
A lot
so
of us have
a
to.
lot of that happens, a lot of it, myself included. So with the children, yeah, definitely. Of course, people hate the word mandating, especially on the other side of the aisle or whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, these kids need to be in physical education. They need to be in a program. We need to make sure that school recess is back in the school system, medically speaking.
Yeah, I don't think it can hurt anything. But what I would love to see, and I'll say this, is our community. I'd love to see, and this is a whole other subject. I'd love to see family units together, uh,
Yes, yes,
teaching basic things, uh, talking about the correlation between not just being religious but spiritual as well, having an experience with God, teaching your history as Black folk, teaching your history as Mississippians and as Americans, uh, financial literacy, health. It would be great if those things were learned within our community, and because one of the things that I have learned is just because other folks do it a certain way doesn't mean I have to do it the same way.
exactly, exactly.
For one family, that might look like, well, everybody's going to walk 2 miles today or half a mile today. With some families, maybe we just need to get up in front of the Wii and have a karaoke night / dance night.
That's right.
That might look like flag football. That
Hmm.
might look like teaching your son or daughter how to play golf or playing
Hmm.
soccer as a family. Every family dynamic is different, especially with working parents. But there's so many different ways to do it where it isn't intimidating and it's taught within the community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head right there, man. Because a lot of people say, "Well, that's the way we've been doing it. That's what everybody else does," and we say, "Well, heck, just because they've been doing it that way doesn't mean that it's been done the right way." And a lot of us been doing it the wrong way. So we don't
Yeah,
need
and we've got wasted meat gone in the garbage can
to.
because great grandmama didn't have enough money for a larger pan. But that's a whole other subject.
That's a whole nother one, brother. That's a whole nother one there. Brother Duvall, so he says, we came close in the 2024 legislative session Do you think we are closer to making Medicaid expansion a reality? Man,
Um, we came close. We came. I don't know how close that was. In 2024 seems so long ago, and I'm
yeah,
thinking back to the fights that ensued and politically what was going on. Um, I met with some legislators over lunch today. Nobody, I hadn't heard anybody talking about Medicaid. And so, you know, I don't know when that conversation will come back up. I believe if the base of President Trump begins to be affected by a lack of coverage, we could see something that propels these conversations across state legislatures. Um, but Brother Duvall, I take it back to the only thing that changes people's lives is money in Jesus Christ.
mm,
Uh, which is and I'm gonna add one to that for the sake of this conversation is eating right, exercise, money, and Jesus Christ are the only thing that changes people's lives. Now there are
right,
some
right.
extenuating circumstances for some folk. We're doing all of those things. Will still, because life happens, will still not be the end all be all or the answer. And so I don't know where we are on Medicaid because I'm simply not hearing anyone talk about that. The hot topic of the day right now, I know from the speaker's perspective, is school choice. Um, there's still some conversation about PERS and where we are on that. You know, you're hearing a lot of business friendly uh, financial conversations that are coming from the White House. I hadn't heard anything about Medicaid.
Yeah.
That's not to say that it might not be on the agenda, but in meetings that I have been in, it has not come up. But PERS and school choice are the things that are echoing in folks. I could talk about what I think should have happened in 2024. Um, and I'll say this, and folk can take it how they will. With legislation and from a truly effective point of view and vantage point, you're never going to get what you want completely the first time. You get with most legislation, you get 25, 30% of good stuff, of the core stuff that you need, and then year to year you add uh, the pieces and you garnish it year to year and you make sure it stays in place. But when you are going at the whole enchilada and not being creative, sometimes we can end up in the same or worse off situation than we were in before.
Absolutely. Look, I'm sending a message to um, Dr. Jennifer Bryan. I don't know if you know her, Brother Williams. She's been very. She was the past president of the MSMA. I always mess that up because you got the Medical and Surgical Association and you got the state Mississippi State Medical Association. Immediate past president. She says I can hop on if you need me to mitigate something else. Let's see. Let's see here. I wonder if I haven't even tried that before to just add someone on the fly. Um, let's see here. I'm gonna send one to Dr. Brunson as well. Dr. Claude Brunson, who had the same title and so many others. Let's see, Dr. Brunson. All right, let's see if they. We'll see if she wants to come on there. That would be great. And if she does, can you all hang with us till about 8:10? You got about 10, 12 more minutes, Brother Williams?
I do.
Let me see if just 1 second, guys. Uh, let's see. She said, "Is everything okay?" She said, "I'm there." Let me see here. So I think she may probably be logged in. I may be able to, let's see, how do we invite again? Okay, this may work. I'm learning something right now. Okay, wait a minute. We don't want to do that. This will be interesting just because she's had a lot of, when we're talking with you about the political aspects and ramifications, she was involved as president there and just a lot of things. She went to Capitol Hill and just been very, very active. So I would love for you all to kind of dialogue
Absolutely.
with that. Yeah, man. Let's see. I think copy to. One second, folks. We're almost there. Stay with us now. Don't log off. I'm sending her an email right now. I think this will work out. So you guys stay with us. Okay, she's sending me something here. I'm in the chat. Send me the link. Okay. I'm looking for your Dr. Brian. Looking your email up there. Uh, where's that email address? So I'm in the chat. Send it to me, please? Your email. I had that there. You guys stay with. We got some more folks. You guys stay with us. We're about to do something. First on Telehealth Tuesday, we'll add somebody on the fly. So I'm learning too. So she's gonna send me. There we go. Thank you. All right. Okay. And 2. All right. Let's do that. Join my broadcast. All right. Okay. Sent. Let's see if this can. Let's see what happens. Copy. Okay. It should be there. You should have it now, Dr. Brian. Let's see. Let me know if you don't have it. Let's see. From producer M, uh, email account. All right, stand by, everybody. I am here. I hope. Okay. Oh, I see you there. So, brother Duvall said, "Leave the purrs alone, please." Dr. Brian. Okay, let's see. Add to scene. Hey, there we go. All right, let's see. All right, I'm gonna work this out. All right. Hey, can you hear Brother Williams?
I can hear.
All right. Hey, all right. I'm gonna 1 second. I'm resizing everything so we can all fit on the screen. And there. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Boom.
Oh, I'm on stage.
There we go. Good to see you, Dr. Brian.
Yeah, what y'all got going on tonight?
Well, I'm here talking with my fraternity brother and an amazing guy. He is a man. I can't say enough good about this gentleman, but he's a local. He's a lobbyist. He's got multiple companies. Does a lot of things. Worked with Congressman Thompson. Meets
Oh,
with
yeah.
political leaders. Yeah, so very very involved. Good friend of mine. And then this is Dr. Jennifer Bryan, who was on our show a few weeks ago and who's been a big supporter. She's been very active, not only locally but also all the way to the national level up in Washington. So anyway, welcome, Dr. Brian, and I would love for you two to chat. We're talking about just civic engagement and how to get people more involved, barriers, all that political. So anyway, I'd love for you to maybe just say hello to everyone and just tell them, what you're doing, Dr. Brian, and some of the things you've done and your passions.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Dr. Williams, for your patience. And I'm sitting on the couch and cooking supper and watching TV. So I was and doing some work on my phone, but I am glad to be here to support. So I'm just jumping in blind, but
Yeah.
we may have met when I've been up with Congressman Thompson. Are you based in D.C.?
I'm based here in Jackson.
Okay. Well,
Based here in Jackson.
I've met the team. I go up in February usually, at least in February, and we go to the entire Mississippi delegation and sit and chat. So certainly, I've spent a good bit of time up here with your congressman and with all the delegation. And to those who are listening regarding civic engagement, I'm coming in blind, but
Yeah.
I I am the immediate past president of State Medical Association here in Mississippi, and am on the American Medical Association Council on Science and Public Health. And I was chairman of the board here on the state level during COVID, so for several years. So that was a lot of kind of my leadership trajectory. I've done that kind of stuff for years. Most recently, I work at Hattiesburg Clinic in Flowood, and I'm a family doctor. And I started a company regarding clinical AI safety, and that is kind of focused with bedside governance over AI, making sure it's safe for people, and doing some research there, and that's really taken off. So that's fun. But as far as engagement, what I would tell people is, I mean, it's important to know your people. They really do want to hear from you. That was when I started going 10, 15 years ago to Washington, and certainly to the state level. They want to hear what you have to think. The lobbyists, many times, are some of your best friends. They get kind of a bad rep sometimes, but generally these people are very well. They're very knowledgeable. The State Medical Association couldn't do it without ours, and my famous advice really is to just show up, because the more you show up to things, the more you learn. You listen, and then you realize you've learned a whole lot. And when you have an idea, do something about it. Speak about it. People are there to help you. Um, Craft legislation if that's what we need to do, or work with regulators. And no matter what your profession is, if it's in medicine, we'd like you to get involved with the State Medical Association and help you with what's been done before or how to mitigate. But whatever your profession, there's probably an organized group that can help you vet your ideas. And then I hope that's kind of what you were looking for. Happy to throw to
Yeah.
y'all, or I can say
Yeah.
more.
Absolutely. I don't know if you want to comment on that, Mr. Williams, my brother.
I think she hit the nail right on the head. And I was, Dr. Brian, I was talking to folks, and I said that most folks don't know that, if you say, hey, I'm going to get together a bunch of doctors and Speaker White, or Lieutenant Governor Hoseman, or Mayor John Horn, we'd like to have coffee with you and talk about what's going on at the state capitol, or what's going on in Jackson. Even folks who custodians, if you say, hey, we're your constituents and we're going to get a bunch of us together and we want to have a conversation with you, very few elected officials are going to say no.
Truth.
And
Mhm.
please don't do it by yourself. Be involved, hire lobbyists.
Yeah, I mean, well, I
uh,
mean, we have at the medical association. I mean, I know so many lobbyists, and like we've had David Roberts on staff for years, but we contract with lobbyists, we partner with other lobbyists, and it's not unlike kind of the stuff we see going on in our nation around the world. You can see people as the other side is bad, but they're trying to feed their family too and argue their points,
Yeah.
kind of like lawyers. So
Mhm.
but the more people you talk to, they're a wealth of information. And I think you hit the nail on the head with what you said, that as you grow in leadership, people begin to see you a little differently. Like you don't want to be approached, and that's just not the case. And I can remember as a young doctor just getting into advocacy. I was, especially when I went to Washington, I thought they're not going to want to talk to me, and they absolutely do. And in fact, many in Washington are lonesome for home and glad to hear a friendly accent. And we're lucky in Mississippi.
yeah, we
I
have a great group of folks,
we really do.
all of them.
They
Yeah.
they all are glad to hear from you, and so just yeah. I mean, I hope it encourages people to reach out and cold email somebody. Like if you have a question, they want to hear from you.
And,
Yeah,
and,
that's.
and you know, the thing that I like about in working in government affairs and as a lobbyist here in Mississippi is that there are very few states where just the access to elected officials that we have. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these folks are our real deal friends.
Hmm.
We aren't just hanging out during session. We aren't just doing business during session. We're building relationships in the off season. You know, there's so many layers to it, and you know, the more you get involved, the more you understand the process, the more people who know you, and the more people you know, and that makes pushing legislation or in some cases opposing legislation, like I've
Mhm.
had to do, it
No,
makes it a little
yeah, I
easier.
mean, sometimes some of the best things that we do is the stuff you don't get passed, right? Like
Exactly.
it's it's what passes, but also really what doesn't get passed, or
Exactly.
how you work out compromise. And in any profession, start with your rep because they are usually business people in the community. They want to work with you and they want your vote, right? They want your
Mhm.
support. And so certainly they're going to take an audience and it grows from there. They know a gal or a guy somewhere that's working in, like, even if that's not their committee. I've talked to people on all different committees that are friends and they help you get to the right place. So yeah,
Mhm.
they're just people and they want to hear. And the more you show up and get involved and do it, you realize it's just like talking to the person next to you at church. I mean, these
Exactly.
are good people that are public servants by and large, and it's
Mhm.
harder than it looks from the outside. One other piece I wanted to say is how you engage them is really important because
Mhm.
just like our parents taught us, um, the way you communicate with people is important. You can be really stark raving mad about something, but if you rip somebody a new one in an email, you're probably not getting a call back, right?
Right.
Or you can make your point and it feels good like slamming the phone down in the old days.
Hmm.
It's not effective.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and we won't take up too much time, Dr. Brian, because we asked my good brother here that we could stay on, a few minutes
And I
later.
appreciate y'all. Yeah, thanks
Yeah,
for asking me to join you.
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah, thank you for taking time away from family time. I'll just one question we had was, you know, how can we shift the focus from Jackson's problems to celebrating progress, like more people seeking care and getting involved. And we're talking specifically to their primary care doctor. How can we shift the focus to that and get people involved, rally them? And so I'll ask that question to Dr. Brian first, and we'll let Emmanuel come on back on the back end.
So I'm going to try to keep it short, but a couple of things. One, I'm a part of the insurance committee down at the legislature that got passed in statute last year, and we've been holding meetings about this very thing, not just for Jackson but across the state on increasing access, looking at what's coming down the pipe, and making sure people maintain access, or trying our dead level best to make sure that we maintain access to care. So some of that is above the individual's level, making sure that insurance companies are able to operate in our state and insure people and that the Medicaid program is healthy and so on. Then on the granular level, uh, I can think about like tomorrow we have the symposium. I'll be there along with a lot of other leaders in science and technology talking about the future. And, I encourage people, like, I think it's at, don't quote me, look it up. I think it's at the convention center downtown, but attend events like that, learn about what's going on, support your community when they put on events like that. As far as encouraging and rallying people to seek care, it's not unlike the legislator situation, which is look for the people first that are in your community and look for those recommendations that you find from friends or family, because I think word of mouth recommendations are the best, honestly. And um, and then look to technology because we, as a state, have worked really hard to get Wi-Fi across the state as much as we possibly can. So we're getting access into areas that maybe didn't have it before. And if you do have a cell phone or a device like you're watching on tonight, probably there are doctors all across the state now that can help and do more than just a cold on telemedicine. I think there's more to come with tech, where it makes it easier for people. So if there's not a doctor immediately in your area, while it doesn't replace all care, it can
Mhm.
definitely help. And I encourage everybody to at least get a wellness once a year and stay up on your prevention.
Absolutely. And real quick, before you, Brother Williams, before you come, want to recognize my good friend there, man, Tim Lee. Big shout out to you, man. Thanks for joining us tonight and everybody else. But go ahead, Brother Williams, whatever, I would love to hear your response and comments on that as well.
I think we've hit the nail on the head all evening. It's one step at a time. It is uh, getting involved, uh, both personally with your own health, encouraging other folks to eat right. Uh, when they say, "Well, I don't feel well," and that "I don't feel well" turns into the same consistent thing. At some point, you ought to probably go to a doctor.
Hmm.
And I know there are sometimes issue with access to care and the affordability of health care. We are fortunate in Mississippi that in some places you have access to clinics for folks who make a certain amount of money, and you can get access to those folks. And you've got enough doctors on this call to be pointed in the right direction.
Hmm.
In terms of Jackson, it begins with the conversations that we have about our own selves. Uh, we have to start calling out the wonderful things that are going on. We have some of the most beautiful people in the world. We have some of the most diverse cuisine in the world. And the cost of living. As someone who just got back from Europe, and who has lived in DC. I love having a townhouse in Mississippi because it is cheap, comparatively speaking. Those are good things that are going on. And if you see a problem, stop talking about it and be a part of the solution.
That is so
I
true.
know, I know. That's Dr. Brian. That's your, yeah, that's your.
Just what are you going to do about it? How are you going to fix it? People have a whole lot to say in terms of critiques, but don't have any real valid help to give. And so,
But
folks that
the other piece of that is, you know, sometimes the person who is living the experience will look around and will think somebody needs to fix this, and you just let it drive you crazy. So, and nobody else really knows it's a thing.
Mhm.
And that's why engagement is so important, especially in our neighborhoods and local things. Like if you see something, you know, understand who your elected leaders are for where you live and communicate. And what you were wanting to say is the federally qualified healthcare centers are based on income. They do get federal support, and those are excellent locations for people. I mean, they take insurance, they see all kinds of folks, but it's a
Mhm.
great place to start with care. And then there's the mental health, by region as well. That's accessible for people. So there are resources out there. You're right. Like the more that we talk up about the good things we have going on. And honestly, sometimes people have benefits, like health benefits per se, but they don't even use them because life is so busy. We live at speeds where you're just go and go and go, and you look up and you have been dealing with that chronic problem like you were talking about for 3 years. You've been complaining about something, and you don't want to wait until it's too late. So
Hmm.
getting seen about, taking the time. Yes, you can call in and take a day, or you can do the things. Make the time because it matters.
If you die, that job will replace you. So,
Hmm. Yeah,
go to the
yeah.
doctor.
Yep, you hit the nail on the head, man. Well, look, I know that the hour's been well spent. So again, we thank our guests. I would love for you, Dr. Brian, to start first to just let everybody know quickly that where you are, if you're taking new patients or not, and all that good, whatever you want them to know, and then we'll let our guest of the night, well, or I guess our planned guest, Mr. Emanuel Williams, we'll let him close it out with whatever he'd like to say and about his branding and what he's doing in the community and what events he has coming up.
Yes, and I look forward to going back and watching your very esteemed guest the first hour. My dog is in ICU, so I have
Oh my
been
gosh.
like running. She's gonna be okay, but anyway, I'm all over the place. But I am planning to go back and
Yeah.
watch. So I am at Hattiesburg Clinic, Flowwood Primary Care. It's 601-414-6520. It's me and 5 other doctors that have practiced a long time in the metro area. We did bring Hattiesburg Clinic up to Central Mississippi. Um, yes, for the most part, I am taking new patients, but usually it's I've kind of squeezed back here for a little bit, but I
Mhm.
can certainly squeeze people in if they're a friend of Mike Bookhardt. And I do know that all 5 of my other partners are taking new patients and are excellent physicians. And we see everybody from cradle to the grave, as they say. So traditional
Awesome.
family medicine. So thank you very much for letting me pop on and crash
Yeah.
your show. It was fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I can be found on most social media as Emanuel D. Williams. We are always taking new clients in the EDW Group. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, there's enough between the government affairs, the business development,
That's it.
and the media partnership that we have with the Jackson Advocate that focuses specifically on economic and business development, where we interview folks in that world talking about the good things that are going on with Mississippi and around the state. And so we are easily accessible, which is one of the things that you'll find.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're gonna leave it there, good people. If you guys would stay on with me real quick, I'm gonna close out. If y'all would stay on with me, literally like 2 minutes, and then we'll. Okay. All right. Thank you all so much for the people. I see there is still some folks kind of you're hanging on and dedicated viewers. Thank you all so much for your patience. Thank you to all of our new viewers. We had several people on. So again, this has been Telehealth Tuesday, your go-to podcast for insights on modern healthcare and wellness solutions. Always here each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. God willing. We love all your fantastic audience participation each and every week. Next week we will have. I'm not going to tell you because you got to make sure to subscribe so you'll know. But I want to let you guys know that, hey, we're going to have, I think, I don't know if she's the first African American female commercial pilot, but she is Joy Schweitzer. I might mispronounce her name, Joy Schweitzer. And so we met on Instagram. Fantastic, amazing woman. I don't know, is it this Tuesday or next Tuesday? So that's why you'll have to tune in to see. I know she's coming up. We've got some other great folks, and we're going to do this again because Dr. Brian, you and I talked about having Dr. Claude Brunson, and we'll invite Emmanuel back on, and so we'd love to do that. So again, with that said, thank you. Join us next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Bring a friend. If there's somebody you want to see, let us know. If you want to be on, let us know. But always make sure to stay safe. Don't forget to subscribe to Dr. B TV. And remember that true wealth begins with good health. See you next Tuesday.